In this video, I will create my first northern landscape painting since I moved up north, so this is very exciting. This was a long time coming, and I decided to work on 4 paintings at the same time. So in this video, you will see the whole process of me creating these paintings, and we will discuss about the reasons why I decided to work on multiple paintings at a time, and what you could gain from doing the same thing. How long have you been here? Hope you haven't been waiting for me for too long. Let's go. Okay, so today we are going to be doing some painting. I think we haven't painted together in a little while now. We've just been chatting a lot, which is good. But now I think we need to do some painting. Since arriving here, I've been struggling with art making a little bit. It's not that I'm not inspired, but I find that I like the time to just sit down in my studio and create. I came here with the goal of creating a new series of Nordic landscapes, and after 2 months of being here, I thought that I would have been further along at this point, so I've been feeling the pressure for sure. Although it's a pressure that I put on myself, I am still feeling it. This exercise started with an intuition that working on multiple smaller paintings at the same time would be good for me. At the time of starting, I didn't really have a reason why, but I just felt like this would be very helpful for me. I kind of felt at first that this would be more like a sketching exercise rather than making completed works of art, but quickly after starting to set up and after measuring my paper and putting the tape at the right places, I just knew that I would be creating final artworks. At the time of doing the paintings, I mostly followed my intuitions and what I felt like I wanted to do. But it's after finishing the project that I took the time to reflect on it and identify some reasons why doing that was a really good idea and why you should do it too. Here's what we're working with today. This is quite messy. Sorry about that, but... Oh, that sounded really Canadian. Sorry. We have a big sheet of paper. I cut some part of it and I created 4 rectangles that are 8 by 10 inches each. Taped them down, did some sketching. So I have 4 different paintings that I am planning on creating. These 2 are upside down. I decided to do it this way because I'm planning on using similar colors for all of these paintings. And oh, my battery's gonna die. Oh, they always do that. They die so quickly now. Okay, I changed the battery. I was saying that they die so quickly now, but to be fair, I've been using these batteries for a few years now, so maybe they're just getting old. I need to buy new ones. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so this is my setup. I moved my small table in front of my big table so I can use both tables. And I have my iPad there with all my reference pictures just to have an idea of the colors. And I have everything I need on each side. So now I'm going to mix a sky color. Sometimes I like to use what's left on my palette, even though I'm not exactly sure what it is. But I think today we're just gonna mix a new color. I like to create this kind of dirty blue. Let's just test it out. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with that. And what I like to do is just like create these expressive strokes like that. And I start with some water and then I vary the amount of water, in fact, that I put. I have not prepped this paper. Like sometimes I wet it before and let it dry so that it doesn't warp as much. I did not do that this time with this paper, so we'll see what happens. And I usually put a lot of water for my skies, so We'll see. This paper is the Strathmore 400 series watercolor paper. I'm not sure if it's 100% cotton. It didn't say, so I'm assuming not. Usually I prefer painting on 100% cotton, but this sheet was one of the biggest sheets that I had, so I really wanted to paint on a big sheet, and I remember liking this paper in the past. This is my attempt of creating a sun. Okay, I like this. Let's move on to the next guy, which is, I think, this one. Yeah, I want to add maybe a bit more yellow into this one though. That's not bad. Okay. Kind of have to work a little bit fast because this tends to dry somewhat faster than what I'm used to. Okay, now we'll have to switch the board. There are multiple reasons why painting 4 paintings or multiple paintings at the same time is very good. The first reason is that it reduces the pressure that you can feel when you work on one painting. When you do one painting, you have this one chance to make it good. I was already feeling the pressure because I thought I would be further along at this time and I really wasn't. So working on 4 different paintings at the same time felt better because if I messed up one, then I would learn from my mistakes and I would still have 3 chances to make great paintings. So for me, it was less pressure. This time I want to try something. I want to wet the sky first before I apply the paint. So I'm just going to use this mop brush, add some water, and right away I'm going to go in with the paint. And I think that it should help me to get a more even spread a bit faster. I don't know if you noticed, but often the sky is darker in the upper part, so I'm just going to add a bit more. Ooh, maybe that's too much. We'll see how it moves. I think I'm gonna go back to the first technique because I really like the texture that it does. So I start with a lot of paint on my brush and then I go with just by adding some water to my brush, and it kind of dilutes what I had on my brush already, and it allows me to create some kind of gradient. I go very fast, so I don't take my time to create the most perfect gradient ever. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. Maybe I should have done the water before this boat. Maybe that was a mistake. So I think I'm just gonna finish this section and stop here for the boat. Move on to the water right away because it's a lighter section. And with watercolors, you kind of always want to work from light to dark, ideally. The water's pretty dark though, but we're gonna wait for this to dry and then we're gonna go and do the water. But I kind of want to do this thing first. The second reason why working on multiple paintings at the same time is great is that it gives you way more flexibility. So for example, if you're really into something, let's say I'm really into painting the skies, then I have 4 skies to paint, so I can just do all the skies if I want. Or if I'm tired of painting skies, then I can move on to another area of the same painting. Or if I'm tired of that painting, then I can move on to a totally different painting. So it just gives you more opportunity to do what you like. And it gives you a nice break when you need one. While I'm working, I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm listening to The Volcano Daughters by Gina Maria Balibrera, and it's so good. Oh, I always like listening to audiobooks when I work. Sometimes when I look at my old paintings, I can remember what I was listening to when I painted it. It's weird how like memory works and you link two things together like that. I feel like otherwise I would have never remembered what I was listening if it was just music or but when it's an audiobook or when I'm watching a show while I'm working, then I feel like my memory gets better in a weird way. I don't know. If you know the science behind that, let me know. The third reason, and this is a good one, the third reason why working on multiple paintings at the same time is great is that you are way more productive without realizing it. Partly because the paintings were on the smaller side, so it didn't feel like a huge task, but also because I could advance each painting a little bit at the same time. So for example, I spent some time selecting my reference pictures only once because I selected my 4 reference pictures at the same time. Then when I created the skies, I mixed my sky color only once. I did all of the skies at the same time. Yes, some skies, as you see, have little differences in them, but I use the same mix that I modified a little bit. Another good example is that I mix all of the sandy areas once. So I use the same base color for all of the paintings, which all have either a sandy path or a bigger sandy area, but the base mix is all the same. I think because of that, I was a lot more productive, but I really didn't see it. I just took a nap. I got so tired. I still am. I finished one of my 4 paintings, so I'm going to show it to you. This is she. Look at, it's so pretty. For the other ones, I did the water, the sky. Well, these two are upside down, but the sky and the sand, the sky. I did a little bit more of this one, some part of the boat and the sand again. After I did these parts with watercolors, then I just started drawing. I focused my energies on this one and I finished it. Well, I might add some pencil marks on top later, but I kind of feel like maybe switching to this one a little bit. I finished 2 paintings. I still have to put the final touches with the pencil, but I'm gonna wait until the end to do that. But I think it's gonna be it for today. This is the following weekend after starting this project, and hopefully today I finish another one. Maybe I finish both of them. But my goal this weekend is to finish the other two and then cut the paper and just like have a good look at what they look like once they are separated. The fourth reason why working on multiple paintings at the same time is great, this is another good one, it's that it's way easier to create a cohesive series. Since I painted all of the similar areas of each paintings at the same time, I was using the same mixes, I was using the same colors, it was easy for me to have a very cohesive look. When came the time to draw, I had all of my colored pencils out of their pencil holder and they were all next to me, so I knew exactly which pencils that I used. Also, since I painted them either at the same time or I would do one at a time, but in the same painting session, it was so easy for me to remember which colors that I used. Because sometimes what happens when I spend a long time in between each paintings is that I'm not exactly sure what colors I use to create my mixes. So if I want to create a similar color, sometimes it's a little trial and error. But for these paintings, I didn't have to do that because I did them all at the same time. And it's not only with colors, it's also with stylistic elements. Since I was working on all of them at the same time, I could make sure that I incorporated similar stylistic elements in each of the paintings. So for example, I made sure that I incorporated the round shapes, which were also a main component of my first Northern Landscape series. I also added some new things, so I decided to add some bright pops of bright blue and bright red in subtle ways, but in each of these paintings you can find that. So since I want to create a new series, it's very important for me that all my paintings are very cohesive, which I feel is something that I easily achieved with these 4 paintings. Finally, the last reason, and I'm sure there's many more, but the last one is that working this way creates wins for yourself. Life is already full of challenges, so why not create winning situations for yourself when you can? Because of all of the benefits that I listed earlier, ultimately you create a winning situation. Because at the end of a few relatively short painting sessions, you end up with multiple very cohesive artworks to add to your series. So what more can you ask for? Look at these. They're so cute. I mean, oh, to be honest, I kind of felt like maybe I didn't have it in me anymore to create this style. I feel like I finally find a style that I feel is unique to me. But I was kind of wondering, is this a one series thing and then I'm gonna move on to something else? Because I always like to try different things and I kind of feel like working with oils. So I didn't know if I still had it in me, but I clearly still do. And maybe I'll try this style with a different medium eventually, but I love them. So this is going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching and I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know if you're planning on trying this exercise where you paint multiple paintings at the same time, and if you do, let me know how you find it. I'm leaving you with a little behind the scenes of what I do when I finish a video in which I created a new painting. I always film some B-roll. I will make sure that I have a good shot of the painting in its whole, and then I film some close-ups that I can use at any point in the video. I don't know why, but this video was difficult to edit. It took me so long. It's always harder to edit when what I film doesn't go in a chronological order. So I hope that you like this different version. And I'm trying something new for my voiceovers, so I'm sorry if sometimes you hear some bad pee, 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 pee. I'm trying to avoid that. So eventually I'll get a nice mic that I can clip on my clothes and the sound hopefully is going to be much better. But in the meantime, we're trying some stuff out. So thanks again for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Take care, and I'll see you soon. There were some questions on my last video, the one where I did the studio tour, and I thought it would be fun to answer them in this video. I answered in the comments also, but I don't know, if you have any questions for me, I can answer them in a future video. I think it's a fun way to interact with you and answer your questions. So there was one, well, it's not a question, but it said, very nice room. I wish my room was so tidy, by the May Queen 1. And you know, it was really tidy for that studio tour video, but you should have seen it a few days after. It's not usually tidy, not when I'm in the midst of a project. So when I was doing this one, I had tables all over the place and my art supplies everywhere, pencils on the floor. So it's not very tidy in general. There's one, okay, it's not a question either. But it says, if possible, I'd love to see what Christmas decorations or celebrations look like where you live. And I will try to film some stuff. Some houses are very well decorated around here. I have to say that here we barely decorate. Like, you should see our apartment in Montreal. We've been there for almost 10 years and it still feels like we just moved in, because we both like well-designed spaces, but we just can't find the time to do it and the will and the energy for it. So anyway, we don't decorate that much, and especially not for holidays. We never decorate for holidays, but I can try to show you around in the town what it looks like. Then, okay, so there was no questions, just comments, but I felt like I wanted to answer some of the comments. Another comment from Nicole Wade 8233. She says, I have to know what color green that is on your walls. There's no green. The green color on my walls is called beige. I wish it was green though. Maybe it's because in one of the shots that I filmed, it could look like, with like the color balance in my camera, it could look like the wall was green. It would be really nice to have a beautiful sage green or something like that. I think it would feel very relaxing. However, this is not our home, so I don't think we're allowed to paint. Maybe we could paint, but then we would have to put it the same color as it was before. I don't know if we're allowed to paint, and I think it would be complicated to find paint here. Unfortunately, I think the only type of color we can put on our walls right now is by adding some artwork. So maybe one of these, if I find a frame, we'll see. So yeah, if you have any comments or questions or anything, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment. I think it could be a fun segment from time to time to answer comments and questions in my videos. If one day I have a lot, then I could do a full-on Q&A, which I have to say would be one of my goals. Like, it would be so fun to do a Q&A, to have enough questions for that. So if you have any, just set yourself free, write in my comments. I want to know what you want to know. Yeah.